Something interesting happens when you stop trying to imagine the life you want and start feeling the life that's already forming inside you. The moment you drop the mental effort of creating a picture in your mind, your energy stops fragmenting. Your nervous system stops comparing the imagined scene to what it has lived before. Your vibration stops fighting against old memories. And in that quiet internal space, when the space without images, without narrative, without mental effort, manifestation accelerates. Not a little, dramatically. Because the field responds to your state faster than it could ever respond to your imagination. Visualization was never the engine of manifestation. It was only a training wheel. It was useful when you didn't trust your energy, when you needed something to hold on to, when you didn't yet know how to feel the future without needing to see it. But there comes a moment where visualization does the opposite of what you want. It slows you down. It traps you in the mind. It keeps you thinking instead of vibrating. It keeps you comparing rather than becoming. The more intensely you visualize, the more you activate the neural networks of your past. Because the brain can only construct images from what it already knows. And if the future you want doesn't match anything you've lived before, your mind becomes the wrong tool for the job. Speed comes from the body, not the mind. The quantum field reacts to your electromagnetic state, not your imagination. You could visualize abundance all day, but if your chest tightens every time you think of money, the field answers the tightness, not the image. You could imagine love with vivid detail, but if your body contracts at the idea of vulnerability, the field mirrors the contraction, not the visualization. You could picture your dream life with cinematic clarity, but if your nervous system is anchored to the emotional habits of the old self, the field continues aligning you with that old identity. Visualization is slow because the mind is slow. It processes one image at a time, one association at a time, one memory at a time. But energy is instantaneous. The body shifts state in milliseconds. The heart's electromagnetic field expands or contracts faster than thought can catch it. Your frequency updates the moment your internal chemistry changes. Your breath deepens, your chest releases, your awareness softens. Those tiny shifts are what the field responds to. That's why the method works 10x faster when you stop visualizing and start embodying. This isn't just spiritual language. Neurobiology confirms it with precision. When you visualize, your prefrontal cortex becomes highly active, pulling data from memory networks, filtering images, comparing possibilities, and checking for inconsistencies. All of this happens inside the mind. But manifestation is not routed through the mind. It's communicated through the heart-brain system, through your vagus nerve, through your emotional resonance, through your baseline coherence. When the mind becomes too active, coherence drops. And when coherence drops, your signal loses strength. A weak signal creates slow manifestation. But when you stop forcing images, and instead let the body shift first, a deep inhale, a softening in the ribs, a warm expansion behind your sternum, coherence rises fast. The field feels the shift before you can articulate it. That's why you've had moments where life changed seemingly out of nowhere. Your energy shifted before your mind caught up. People misunderstand manifestation because they keep trying to think their way into a future they must feel their way into. Visualization can only pull from the past. Energy pulls from the field of infinite possibilities. Visualization builds from memory. Energy builds from frequency. Visualization requires effort. Energy requires surrender. Visualization is limited to what you can imagine. Energy allows for outcomes your mind would never think to request. This is why some of your biggest breakthroughs happened when you weren't visualizing at all. When you were simply present, open, honest, relieved, grounded, spacious. You weren't projecting an image. You were emitting a state, and the field mirrors state faster than it mirrors thought. Think of your inner world like a tuning fork. When you visualize, you hit the fork with your mind. When you embody, the fork vibrates on its own. The resonance is cleaner, stronger, deeper. It spreads through your nervous system with consistency. And the moment your vibration becomes stable, timelines begin collapsing into form. The faster method, the one that works 10x quicker, has nothing to do with mental imagery. It has everything to do with the felt sense of coherence, the warm, stable, present, open state your body enters when you stop trying to manipulate reality and start aligning with it. When the body leads, manifestation accelerates. When the mind leads, manifestation drags. Today, you're going to learn exactly how to stop relying on visual imagination and tap into the energetic mechanism that the universe reacts to instantly. Because once you understand the speed of energy compared to the slowness of thought, you'll never approach manifestation the same way again. There is a truth your body has been trying to show you for years. It manifests faster than your thoughts can organize themselves. The mind imagines slowly, the body broadcasts instantly, and when the two are out of sync, your manifestations feel inconsistent, delayed, or strangely distorted. This is why visualizing your desires with perfect clarity can still leave you feeling stuck. Because while your mind is constructing images, your body is transmitting an entirely different signal. The field responds to the broadcast, not the picture. When someone tries to visualize, the first thing that usually happens is comparison. The brain looks at the image and checks it against your emotional history. It asks, have we felt this before? Is this familiar? Is this safe? And if your body has not yet experienced the emotional frequency of that desired reality, the visualization collides with stored memories. The mind pushes one way while the body pulls the opposite way. The result is static, the kind the quantum field mirrors back as delays, mixed results, or manifestations that fall apart the moment they arrive. But when you let the body speak first, the static dissolves. The body doesn't need to picture anything. It only needs to shift state, and the shift is immediate. A single softening in the solar plexus can do more to change your timeline than an hour of detailed visualization. A subtle release in the diaphragm can open more vibrational portals than repeating affirmations all day. The body is the tuning fork. The mind is just the echo. This is why some desires materialize before you even think to visualize them. Because your somatic field, the living, breathing electromagnetic organism that surrounds you, updates before the mind constructs a coherent picture. You feel a sense of readiness long before you know what you're ready for. You sense expansion long before you know what you're expanding into. Your body chooses the timeline before the mind names the desire. And when the body leads, the universe responds immediately. The heart's electromagnetic field extends several feet beyond your physical body. It contains information about your emotional state, your baseline coherence, your inner availability, your readiness to receive. This field updates each time your breath deepens, each time your ribcage opens, each time you stop bracing for life and allow yourself to inhabit your body fully. These subtle shifts generate resonance, and resonance is what the quantum mirrors back. People underestimate how much their body communicates. Even when you think you're not manifesting, your energy is constantly adjusting. When your shoulders drop after releasing a long-held anxiety, the universe registers that as a request for an easier timeline. When your chest expands after making peace with something painful, the universe registers that as permission to bring in something new. When you stop clenching your stomach after years of living in survival mode, the universe interprets it as a signal of safety, and safety opens the door to abundance. Visualizing can never replicate these signals, because images remain trapped in the mind, circling through thought loops. But somatic shifts send clean, immediate broadcasts that bypass cognitive interference entirely. You don't need to see the future when your body already feels it. Here's the surprising part. Your body often knows what you want before you do. Not because it's psychic, but because it recognizes resonance. The body picks up on frequencies your mind hasn't learned to interpret yet. It senses timelines that match your suppressed potential. It responds to futures your intellect has not yet dared to consider. This is why you sometimes outgrow things before you understand why. Your body is adjusting to a timeline your mind hasn't identified. When you let the body lead, you accelerate manifestation because you remove the bottleneck, the mind. Visualization forces the mind to participate too early, and the mind is slow, contradictory, and overly attached to what it already knows. But the body is honest, fast, direct, unfiltered. It broadcasts desire without drag. This is why manifestations rooted in somatic alignment show up 10 times faster. There's no friction, no argument, no cognitive resistance. You don't need a mental picture. You need a physiological permission slip, a stable breath, a relaxed throat, a warm chest, a softened belly, a nervous system that is no longer bracing for the past. When you shift these, the field responds immediately. And if you want to anchor this truth right now, to mark the moment your body begins manifesting faster than your mind, declare it in a way that the field can receive clearly. Type in the comments, "My body leads and reality follows." Not because the words are magical, but because the acknowledgement stabilizes the new state you're entering. It tells your system, "I'm ready to stop imagining and start emitting." And once the body emits a coherent signal, the universe has no choice but to adjust. This is the mechanism behind the method that works 10x faster, the method you're about to learn next. There is a doorway inside you that most people never notice. A point where your energy becomes so coherent, so unfragmented, that the quantum field responds instantly. Not gradually, not eventually, instantly. It is the state where manifestation bypasses thought entirely, where you collapse a timeline not by imagining it, but by embodying the version of yourself who already lives in it. This is the essence of the zero image method, the art of manifesting without visualizing anything at all. The zero image method is not about emptiness in the sense of lack. It's about emptiness in the sense of clarity, a state where your nervous system is no longer competing with your imagination, where your biology is not contradicting your intention, where your emotional body is not replaying an outdated identity. Visualization requires the mind. The zero image state requires the self beneath the mind. When you close your eyes and try to visualize a desired future, your brain has to gather visual fragments from memory. But the future you want, the one your soul keeps pointing to, often has no reference in the past. So the brain constructs images from old patterns, old environments, old emotional textures. It cannot create a visual that matches a reality you've never lived. And this is where the conflict begins. The image may be beautiful, but the body knows it doesn't match the lived emotional code. The tension between the imagined future and the remembered past generates interference. Interference slows down manifestation. But when you stop projecting images and instead drop into sensation, everything becomes simpler. The body does not need memory to experience coherence. It only needs permission. And the moment you shift into this zero image state, the state with no picture, no narrative, no story of the future, your energy becomes clean enough for the universe to read it with absolute accuracy. So how do you enter this state? It begins with the chest, always the chest. Not because the heart is poetic or symbolic, but because it is the strongest electromagnetic generator in your body. The zero image method starts with noticing the subtle movement behind your sternum, the place where expansion begins. When you soften the center of your chest, even slightly, your entire field reorganizes. The vagus nerve relaxes. The diaphragm drops. Your breath deepens naturally, not forcefully. Your mind quiets because the body signals safety. This is the first layer of the method, somatic openness. Then comes the second layer, emotional neutrality. Not detachment, not indifference, neutrality. A state where you stop comparing what you want with what you have. Comparison is what activates the identity of lack. Neutrality dissolves the emotional friction. It creates space. In this space, your energy stops fighting the present moment, and the field responds to space faster than it responds to desire. The third layer is the heart of the method, micro-expansion. A small, subtle swelling in your chest that feels like the beginning of relief. Not joy, not excitement, relief. The sensation that you are no longer carrying the emotional weight that once defined your past timeline. This micro-expansion lasts seconds, but it is enough. It is the vibrational equivalent of opening a portal. In this moment, You are no longer the version of yourself who was waiting for the future. You are the version who is available to receive it. The fourth layer, temporal disorientation. This may sound complex, but it's simple. When you release all images of the future and all memories of the past, your nervous system loses its usual markers of time. It stops calculating. It stops predicting. It stops guarding. You enter a brief state of now without reference. And in this state now the body is not resisting anything, because it has nothing to compare. When resistance disappears, vibration increases. When vibration increases, manifestation accelerates. This is the part that makes the zero-image method so powerful. When you stop imagining a specific outcome, you stop limiting the field. The universe can finally bring you the timeline that matches your frequency, not the timeline your mind is capable of picturing. And the timeline the universe chooses is almost always bigger, faster, and easier than the one you consciously try to design. The fifth and final layer is the one that collapses reality: identity resonance. Once you are open, neutral, expanded, and untethered from mental imagery, your body naturally shifts into the emotional signature of the version of you who already has what you want, without needing to define it visually. This is the missing ingredient. You don't need to know how the future looks. You only need to know how the future feels. And feeling does not require the mind. The zero-image method works 10x faster because the body doesn't have to fight with your imagination. There is no friction, no contradiction, no mental story that pulls your vibration back to the past. There is only resonance, clean, coherent, unmistakable resonance. The version of you who is already living the manifestation vibrates through you in real time. And the quantum field mirrors that identity immediately because there is nothing blocking the signal. Most people try to manifest with images, but the future arrives through sensation. When you step into this zero-image state, you become the frequency that your timeline has been waiting for. You stop signaling desire and start signaling readiness. And readiness is the fastest language the universe speaks. There comes a moment in your evolution where manifestation stops feeling like something you pursue and starts feeling like something that recognizes you. A moment where the universe moves with you, not after you. Where timelines open because your energy says yes before your mind even decides what it wants. This is the moment when you finally understand why the zero-image method works so quickly. Because the fastest manifestations don't arrive through imagination. They arrive through identity. Once you've stopped projecting images, once you've stopped constructing mental scenes and forcing your mind to invent futures it has no reference for, something inside you becomes astonishingly clear. The noise drops. The comparison dissolves. The emotional static you didn't even realize you were carrying begins to loosen its grip. And in that clarity, your energy becomes unmistakable. The universe doesn't have to guess what you're asking for anymore. Your state communicates everything. This is the switch most people never make. They try to create from the mind while their body is still vibrating with the memory of an older identity. They visualize a future while their nervous system unconsciously prepares for the past. They imagine abundance through the lens of scarcity, love through the lens of fear, success through the lens of self-protection. The mind pushes forward, the body pulls backward, and the field mirrors the tension. But when you stop visualizing and start embodying, the tug-of-war ends instantly. The body no longer has to negotiate with the mind. The mind no longer tries to override the body. You enter a unified internal state. One signal, one vibration, one identity. And the universe responds to unified signals with breathtaking speed. This identity is not constructed. It's revealed. It's the version of you that was hidden beneath layers of tension, old emotional reflexes, inherited beliefs, and outdated stories about what is possible. When those layers fall away, even for a moment, your energy shifts into a state your future recognizes. You become resonant with the timeline that has been orbiting your field for months, years, maybe lifetimes. And once resonance is established, the future has no choice but to move toward you. The acceleration you experience in this state is not coincidence. It is physics. A coherent signal collapses probability faster than a fragmented one. When your energy becomes congruent, when your breath, your posture, your internal chemistry, your emotional tone all synchronize. The quantum field receives a stable frequency that it can mirror without distortion. This is why things arrive in clusters when you're aligned. The field is accessing a clean channel. And here is the part nobody tells you. You do not need to feel high vibe. You do not need to feel ecstatic, euphoric, or wildly inspired. You only need to feel undivided, neutral, steady, spacious, a body that is no longer bracing, a heart that is no longer guarding, a presence that is no longer fighting the moment. This is the identity the universe responds to, not the one who imagines the future, but the one who is available to receive it. When you reach this state, life starts moving in ways you couldn't have orchestrated even with the best visualization practice. You'll notice conversations opening effortlessly, opportunities appearing in perfect timing, insights dropping into your awareness with clarity instead of effort. You may even feel like you're being pulled forward, as if the future has already chosen you. And in truth, it has. Not because you pictured it, but because you became compatible with it. This is the essence of 10x manifestation. You're not speeding up the universe. You're removing what slows you down. Mental images slow you down. Old emotional residues slow you down. Self-comparison slows you down. Forcing coherence slows you down. Trying to feel high vibe slows you down. But the zero image state, grounded, open, neutral, embodied, removes all friction. The universe races to meet the version of you who vibrates with clarity instead of effort. And if you can feel this truth settling into your body right now, if some part of you knows you're ready to stop imagining and begin embodying, then you're already crossing a threshold. The version of you who manifests instantly is already emerging. The question now is, how deeply are you willing to stabilize this? If you're ready to anchor this identity, the one who doesn't chase, doesn't push, doesn't overthink, but manifests through coherence, presence, and embodied resonance, then you're ready for the next step of this journey. Everything you need to deepen this shift is inside the Awaken Your Quantum Power ebook and its practical companion guide. It's designed to help you build the emotional, energetic, and somatic foundation for manifestation that doesn't depend on visualization, but on identity. You'll find the link in the pinned comment. If something inside you feels ready, follow that feeling. Your future is already responding,